Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is another kind of episode, if you will, of my series Beauty Batch. And that is where it's kind of like my makeup collection or my makeup stash type video. I did one already and it was the brow edition. So what I'm doing is going through each category of my makeup and talking about high-end versus drugstore. Do I think it's worth the money? How good does this product work? That kind of thing, because I had mentioned in that first video that I had spent $100 at Sephora for 3 items. It was just crazy, and I really want to be more budget conscious and try to share what I think you should splurge on and where I really think you should save your money. So definitely take advantage of the fact that I spent my money and hopefully save you some of your money, and we'll kind of narrow it down to what's worth it, what's not, what's okay, that kind of thing. Now keep in mind, I have dry skin, so most of my primers, if not all of them, are going to focus around that because that's the kind of skin type that I have. But I also have large pores, so I do have pore filling and smoothing type primers as well. So we are going to kind of just randomly grab. I've got my bucket here, so we're just gonna start grabbing and talk about each type of primer. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is one that is very recently hyped up all over YouTube, and that is the Nivea Men Shave Balm. And of course this is in sensitive. I think most of the girls on YouTube are getting sensitive. I got it because I actually do have sensitive skin, so I couldn't tell you if the other one's any good. And I haven't done a review or a try-on my channel. I thought about doing it, but there's so many out there already, and the general consensus is they like it. And I will say it does smell like a man, which doesn't bother me. I like the way my husband smells, and he kind of has scents similar to this, so I don't mind it. It also doesn't last very long. The scent does go away after a few minutes. But I have to say, I freaking love this. Of all of my primers, and I have really expensive ones in my basket and really cheap ones that I like too, and we'll talk about. But this is on the cheaper end. I think it's around $5 or $6. I got mine at Target. It literally does make your makeup last all day. It is truly one of those that will improve the longevity of your makeup, if nothing else. Now, it's not going to fill in your pores. It is moisturizing though, so I do find it to be very hydrating and very cooling. It just feels good on the skin, but it will absolutely make your makeup last so much longer. I mean, like your blush and your contour is always the first to go, but when I use this, it is always on there as if I just applied it. So I could not recommend this one enough. It is worth the hype, it's worth it, and it's only $5 or $6. So I would absolutely run to the store and get this right now after you watch this. Then you can go to the store. Okay, we talked about that long enough. I think I'm going to talk about Smashbox next because I have a few of those. Okay, I think I have 4 here that I want to talk about from Smashbox. Now, Smashbox is kind of like, if you think about who makes the best brow product, you think of Anastasia Beverly Hills. Who makes the best highlighter? Becca Cosmetics is really known for being really good in that area. I think Smashbox kind of pioneered the way for primers. Now, they're not my absolute favorite, but they have a very strong presence in the primer world. They were one of the first to create the primers, so I do have a few of them. I'll talk first about the Photo Finish Primer Water. I really love this stuff. I haven't used it in a little while because I did my own like DIY MAC Fix Plus, and it's kind of the same thing. It's like water, toner, and glycerin. And I think that kind of does the same thing. I'm not going to repurchase this. Now, I did purchase this twice, so this is my second bottle, and I have a travel size for when I go traveling. So I've definitely purchased my share of this product, and it's good. But now that I know how to make it myself, I wouldn't repurchase it because it's a lot cheaper to make your own. But overall, yes, I do like it. I just wouldn't spend the $30-something on it when you can make it for about $3 to $4. Next is a newer one, and I just did a video, and I will put the little iCard up on this side. I think it'll pop up right here. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Oil. Now I talked about this, it was like a first impression. I haven't had it that long, so I can't say that it's fantastic or that it's horrible because I don't really know yet. I feel like it's not a great standalone primer. I feel like I would use this more as a skincare. Because of my dry skin, I would apply this after everything's done, and I would kind of set my face with this and then go on with my regular primers. I don't think it improves the longevity of the makeup. It doesn't shorten the wear either, I find. The oil doesn't break down the makeup, but it doesn't prolong it either. And I'm on the fence about it. I can't say that I recommend it right now because it is pretty pricey. So hold off on that. Get a sample from Sephora if you want to try it out if you have dry skin. But don't bite the bullet and buy it just yet because it's not wowing me enough to tell you to spend 30 or 40 bucks on this oil. Next is the Photo Finish Foundation Primer, and this is the hydrating one. Again, I can't recommend it because the price is high. I use it because I have it and I like it. It's fine. But I just don't think it's got that wow factor that would convince me to tell anyone else to purchase it based on its price point. If it was like 8 or 10 bucks, sure, go for it. But since it's, I don't know, was this the $20 range? I just wouldn't feel comfortable recommending it because of the price. It's good, but it's not good enough to warrant the price tag on it. Last thing from Smashbox is the Photo Finish Hydrating Under Eye Primer. This, I like it because it is innovative. It's one of the few products that came out like this. I think e.l.f. has one now. I haven't tried it, so I can't tell you for sure. But I like it. It's fine, but I will not repurchase it. Again, it's just too pricey and it doesn't really wow me. I think you could get just a beauty blender and spray it with a hydrating like Fix Plus or something like that and dab it under the eyes and get the same effect. Or e.l.f. has a hydrating balm that kind of gives the same effect as well. So no, I wouldn't recommend this. It's good, but it's not great. Okay, next I have two primers from Makeup Forever. I have they're both this is so confusing because they're both called Step 1, but they each have different numbers. I can't remember what the numbers are. I know the smoothing primer is number 2, but I can't remember what the radiant primer is. But they're also colored, so there's a gray and the yellow. But the smoothing primer was my absolute favorite forever and ever, and it made it into my yearly favorites of 2015. I raved about it. I love it. I think Smashbox makes one in a purple tube that does the same thing, but I think that's better if you have oily skin. But as far as normal to dry, this is a really great pore filling primer. I don't think it helped the longevity of my makeup whatsoever, but it did fill in my pores and it looked great. So yes, I do love it. I don't know if I would recommend it though. I love it. I really love it. But I found a drugstore primer that fills in my pores really, really well, and I love it. And we'll talk about that in a minute. There's a few bigger YouTubers that hate it, and so that's why I don't know that I could recommend either or, because it's really based on skin type. But I do think this does exactly what it says it does, and it does it very well. So yes, I do love it. I will leave it up to you on whether you want to spend the $30-something on the primer. Now on this primer, no, I would not spend the $30 on it. Yes, it works and it's good, but it's not mind-blowing. It's not great, but I do like it. I know Jaclyn Hill raves about it, and that's probably why I have this, but I just didn't find it was that radiant. I have one that is high-end that's a lot more radiant that I would purchase over this one. And on that note, we will talk about it. It is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. I didn't want to love this because it is expensive, but Becca does make some really beautiful products, and this is a very nice bottle. It's kind of a frosted glass, comes with a pump. You need a very little amount. I mean, one pump is more than enough to cover your entire face. It's definitely not pore filling. In fact, it'll probably exaggerate that, so I don't put it in my pore area. I kind of keep it up on the forehead and the tops of the cheekbones, but I kind of stay away from this portion in my nose because that's where my pores are more visible. So I use a pore filling primer for that, but the outer perimeter of the face It's a beautiful primer. It is just absolutely flawless for dry skin. It gives you a really nice dewy look. It's great to add with foundations because of the pump. You just mix a little with your foundation and it makes any foundation glowy and beautiful. So yes, I would recommend this, but you have to really love that dewy look for you to want to get this. Okay, next I have the Tarte Clean Slate Poreless 12-Hour Perfecting Primer. This is exactly the same thing as this, the Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser. I don't really feel like it's great at filling in pores. It does smooth over pretty well, but these kinds of primers I prefer because they're clear and kind of silicone based. I don't really love them for my more porous areas. I like them for the forehead though, because I have some fine lines up there, and even under the eyes where there's fine lines, it does fill in fine lines a little bit better than pores in my opinion. But I would not purchase the Tarte one. I would purchase the Maybelline Baby Skin because it's exactly the same thing. Next I have a YouTube OG primer, and that is the Benefit POREfessional. I can't tell you how many of these I bought before. There were other primers this was like the first of its kind to have like a colored primer to fill in your pores, and this works beautifully and I love it, and I've probably gone through 5 or 6 of these because it was the only one like it for so long. Now that there's others out, I don't feel like I'm going to repurchase this anytime soon because I have other primers that are working really well for me right now, but I wouldn't dismiss it either. I mean, it is an OG, it is really good. It's just one of those, I would probably get a sample of it and see how it works for you first, but I do like it and I think it's a really great primer. Okay, next I've got some that are kind of in their own category. Two of them are from IT Cosmetics. This one is the number 50 Serum Collagen Veil Anti-Aging Primer. This, I'm actually getting pretty low on it, but that's what it looks like. It is, I've had it for a pretty long time. It's a good primer, but it is $50. I would never ever do that again. That's maybe why it's still lasting, because I have so many options and I haven't really gone back to this in a while. I think it's great that they incorporated skincare. I can understand that they amped up the price because there's skincare in there and there's benefits to it, but I still just don't think it's worth $50. It's my opinion. I mean, I'm getting to that age where I'm definitely noticing fine lines and things showing up, and skincare is very important to me, and I want to have as much of it as I can. If it's incorporated into a makeup item, that's a great bonus, but I just can't, I just don't feel comfortable recommending this when it's $50. I just can't. The next one is the IT Cosmetics Feel the Moment Anti-Aging Ultra Hydrating Sensory Awakening Primer Serum. Holy crap, I don't even think I could fit that as a like pop-up on the screen. That's a paragraph for a name. But it is good. It smells like a spa. A little bit goes a super, super long way. I mean, I've had this for a really long time. You can see I've still got well over half of it left. I wouldn't recommend purchasing the big bottle. It's going to go bad before you go through it, so I think it's going to be a waste of money in that sense. I do like it, but it takes a really long time to set. So if you're one that's getting your makeup on and trying to rush out the door for work or school or whatever, this is not going to be that primer to go to, because it is going to take a really long time to set before you can start applying your foundation. Next is another very similar product, and this is from Hourglass. It does the exact same thing. It's just a hydrating primer serum. I would purchase this over the IT Cosmetics only because it's available in a smaller size and therefore a cheaper price. So out of the two, I would go with the Hourglass, but they are essentially the exact same thing. Alright, I am down to my last 3, and sadly I think I only have 2 primers here that are drugstore. Well, there's 3 if you count the Baby Skin. This is one that I showed in a recent video with my swap with Vanessa, and it came in a little kit with other Laura Geller things. It's the Spackle Hydrating Moisturizing Under Makeup Primer by Laura Geller. Now this is a smaller like sample size. I only used it once, and I liked it the one time that I used it. I think it does a great job of hydrating your skin. I think it's good at that. I didn't have any dry patches to worry about when I applied my makeup. But since I have a pore filling issue as well, I have to still come in with another primer to kind of take care of the pore situation. Next is the L'Oreal Magic Lumi Light Infusing Primer. So I think this one and the one from Becca are very similar. This one's definitely a white, way white. Like, I look very ghostly when I use it. I don't love this as a primer, but I do like adding it to foundation. So if you are interested in a primer that's glowy like this just to add to your foundation, then I would pick the L'Oreal over the Becca. But if you want to apply it to your skin, I think the Becca is just a little bit better. But I do like the price tag on this one. It's much more affordable, and it comes with a pump, which is so nice. So I would say give this a try first, or get a sample of the Becca and maybe compare the two and make that decision for yourself. But I do love that this is drugstore and a lot more accessible. And last but not least, this is actually my holy grail favorite primer. I think I talked about this in last month's favorites. It is the CoverGirl True Blend, and this is face primer for dry skin. Now, Kathleen Lights recently did a video on drugstore products in general. She didn't like it. I know, I agree with her, the scent is not good. It does smell pretty bad, but maybe our skin types are a little different. Maybe hers is a little more dry than mine, but for me, I love it because it is hydrating and it's pore filling. It doesn't say anything on here about being pore filling, but it is, and it really is amazing. I think it's around $8, and you get one fluid ounce, and I just really, really love this so much. I hate that it didn't work for Kathleen Lights. Maybe it will work for you, maybe it won't work for you. That's just kind of one of those things. Everybody's skin is so different. But for me, I love this thing so much. I used it today, and I used the Nivea. I put that on all over after my skincare and all that was settled in. And then after this sank in a little bit, I went over this more specifically in the T-zone area where my pores are more prominent. So overall, I think it's definitely worth a try, and I will be the first to tell you I am so jaded when it comes to drugstore products. I kind of am a makeup snob. I have a lot of high-end stuff and I really love it, but I don't love the prices on them, and I just decided, I was at the drugstore, I was like, I'll just give it a shot. Worst thing, it doesn't work for me and I'm only out $7 or $8. But to my pleasant surprise, it was well worth the $8, and it worked beautifully for me, and I definitely recommend at least trying it. Keep the receipt. If you don't love it, just return it, but I think it is a fantastic primer. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys, and I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, that this is shorter than my brow edition of this Beauty Batch series, because I know that one was 30 minutes. I'm going to try really hard to cut this down as much as I can. But again, like I said in that video, I want to be as thorough as I can as well, because I really want you guys to make informed decisions on these kinds of products and not waste your money. I feel like I was blowing and going a lot when I was really heavy into purchasing makeup, and there's a lot of regrets that are high-end. Drugstore, it's a little bit easier of a pill to swallow when it's a regret, because it's not nearly as painful on the wallet. But anyway, that is my primer collection. I hope you found the information you needed. If you have any questions about any of that, leave those in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy to answer those for you guys. And that is it for today's series on Beauty Batch. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.